السادة المشاركين.
We welcome all the participants here and also virtually in this scientific session under the third conference about land and its third edition held in the Kingdom of Morocco with co-organization between the Ministry of Territorial Planning and City Policy and other partners such as the UN Habitat, which promote integrated cities in terms of planning and also in order to improve lives and combat climate change, and also to implement the agenda of 2030. And of course our Ministry of Habitat and the policies is working with in reference with our constitution and the instructions of His Majesty and other references like the governmental program. We also welcome all the speakers that will present their presentations. We thank them as well. And before all that, we give the speech, the opening speech to to the General Secretary of our Ministry of Habitat, Mr. Husni. You have the floor, sir, from the Ministry of National Planning, Urban Planning, Housing and Urban Policy. You have the floor, sir. Peace be upon you. And peace be upon you, ladies and gentlemen, dear representatives. I am happy to welcome you in this specialized and scientific session as a part of the conference held in Morocco. This conference that gathers experts on land and urban development from all the Arab and the African region with representatives from different friendly countries from Europe and America. As you may know, the real estate in the Arab region is the pillar of all economic development and also an essential factor to establish social justice and stability, and also to combat vulnerability and to establish sustainability against different threats. And in front of all the threats that we are living nowadays, it is important to create a balance between the demand and the offer and to prepare a good offer. However, our Arab states face a lot of challenges in this regards, and which affect the sustainability of this sector. Among them, we mention the legal framework, the legal and institutional framework, which is characterized by a huge diversity of laws and regulations, because real estate is a vertical sector which hinders the projects and also give birth to inappropriate behaviors in the sector, because if the field of sector is not secured, we cannot talk about securing investment. Second element is the appearance of slums in and also illegal urban developments. A third element is the rarity of the lands dedicated to development and investment, which makes it difficult to access a good and decent housing, and also represents a difficulty in terms of launching projects and with ownership issues, etc. Also, the real estate challenges in rural areas when we face problems of heritage and land distribution between inheritance, and also the weak infrastructure in the villages and rural area. The fifth challenge is the challenge of sustainability and also dealing with the climate changes, dealing with floods and droughts, and also sustainable use of lands. The sixth challenge is the weak investment of technology in real estate and property. And we talked about that in the morning, and it is one of the main factors to enhance the sector in our country. Seventh element is the weak financing of real estate. So in order to respond to all these challenges, our Arab nations need first of all, a strong legal framework, the use of technology, facilitating the administrative procedures, and also promoting regional collaborations and efficient policies. Ladies and gentlemen, in the context of sharing experiences, I would like to remind you that the Kingdom of Morocco witnessed recently big transformations in terms on institutional and the legal level under the leadership of His Majesty, the King Mohammed VI. And I was happy to discuss with my colleagues this morning the mutation that Morocco witnessed in such a short time, thanks to God. So, along with these workshops, there were many reforms in order to establish a very integrated and efficient land policies that will cope with accelerating economy and the growing population, and also the growing rate of urbanization in Morocco, and which will continue in the coming years. All that imposes new challenges and imposes to provide enough space and the properties, and also to improve accessibility to private and public sectors in order to meet the development objectives. In this regard, Morocco launched a comprehensive land strategy in order to make sure of the good governance and to make sure that it answers to the needs of the sustainable development under the supervision of the National Committee of Land Registration, and with the different stakeholders, because it's a vertical matter, as I said. And we will hear soon the intervention of Mr. Mustafa from the committee that will present the different axes of this strategy and that helps the kingdom to overcome all the challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, this scientific session in which we are participating tackles the topic of real estate as a main resource for development in integrated and sustainable development, because how can we make of real estate a lever for regional justice? Secondly, what are the policies that we can rely on in order to serve the sustainable development? How can we assure the flexibility and the resilience of the sector of land? Answering these questions can be only done on a comprehensive approach, including the development of new policies and real estate and encouraging responsible and integrated investments. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenges that we are facing today require from us bigger coordination and bigger cooperation between different Arab states in order to exchange good practices in order to establish more successful policies. And we are sure that this meeting will be great opportunities to exchange visions and also write down recommendations that will sustain development in our country. And again, I welcome you again, and I wish success for this event, and I wish that it will be a step forward in developing all the territorial sectors in a changing world. And peace be upon you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Director of on this opening word of to this session, and that we talk about. I mentioned what he said in general. It talks about the challenges and results achieved in this domain in the Kingdom of Morocco. Ladies and gentlemen, the program of the session will listen in a little while on land, and I welcome her to the stage. She specialized in land domain, and now she is the director of land domain in the ministry, in the same ministry. She have many degrees, high degrees in many important fields, and she has expertise and long experience in this field. Applaud to her firstly. After that, we will have discussions with Mr. Mustafa Al-Hakak, the director of directory of that will explain to us the strategy of land in Morocco. Welcome, Doctor. I will introduce the Dr. Al-Kahat. He is the director of the land domain, and he's an expert in the domain and the data, and he's a topographical engineer, and I would not mention the year that we he's a graduate for a long time, and he has a long experience, and he graduated from the Institute of Hasana too, and he continued his schooling, and he has a excellent educational path, and uh, after that there's a program of the word of Mr. Ayashi, a professor in the Institute of Agriculture, and he is a member, and he couldn't attend now, and I speak before you between the relationship of land domain and the strategic role in improving the use of land, and we will give afterward the word to the representative of information geomechanic in KSA, the engineer Saad Hallam, the director of the and then we will open to discussions, uh, and then I will give to Hassan Kharnish, who will give us the conclusions of the results of these sessions. Then afterwards we salute each other until another meeting soon. Mr. Mr. Nahnahi, you welcome you. Go ahead.
السلام عليكم.
Peace be upon you all. In the name of God, the most merciful, and peace and blessings of his prophets. Allow me firstly, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and express my gratitude to participate in this discussions, to the third discussions on land in Arab countries. Distinguished guests, as you know, the vision of land domain on the topic of land, on sources, national and international, the instructions of His Majesty that consider land is strategic factor, productive, strategic, and a pillar, and it's the backbone of to promote investment and promote and create jobs, and also there's it creates a strategic data, and that will that aims to exploit resources and balance its ability on adaptations to changes, environmental and technological changes, and reforms, specifically the Dustur of 2011, and that is built upon it will create another direction, and promotes, and it will open opportunities to every regions that will, so it can work on investments on its capabilities and their privacies and their political and their policies, as was mentioned in the law of regions and the new Dustur constitutions consist
على اعتبار الحق في
in and also to consider the right to ownership and the right to access property as a priority, should be priority for the authorities. Also, the government program that aims to establish the good governance and justice and integrity in regional programs in order to establish the pillars of social state and diminish the differences and encourage investment. Fourthly, the new development model that calls for a better use of real estate and also to establish urban spaces to be open and also that will help in establishing the new agenda, national agenda and African agenda, and also the development objective of 2030 and the program of the network of Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenges to gain to establish or to reach the objectives can be summarized in two main elements. First of all, the first challenge is the population growth, and you know that the population growth that our country witnessed recently contributed in a development of an urban system and 380 cities and the rate of urbanization which is above 60%. So a lot of challenges came sprang out of this new data, which is the concentration of urban population in the coast, and the big cities now are contributing with 75% of national GDP and 70% and attract 70% of investment. So each public policy can be successful only with what is provided of real estate and lands that are available. Either it is in rural or urban lands. So the distribution of real estate and also providing a just and efficient properties and clarity, and also with clarity of ownership, because we have different kinds of ownership that are inheritance and that are commune, and that's why the Ministry of Habitat is working on launching a new strategies and policies in order to enhance the deployment of our objective in our real estate, regionally speaking, starting from the studies and then the follow-up and reinforcing and supporting. And in terms of preparing territorial aspects on a national level, first of all comes under the development of the national strategy that reflects the state objectives on a short and long term, and it shows also the integrity of different stakeholders and territorial actors in terms of providing the strategic planning. And this vision relies on that the real estate is a shared ownership that requires a wise management which takes into consideration its specificities. Also, our vision of preparing our the territorial sector of land is about four axes. First of all, simplifying the regulations and the legal context, and make also the laws adapting them to answer to the real estate needs. The second axis is about controlling the urban development and the real estate market by simplifying the procedures, the standards when it comes to using lands, and also limiting the urban growth. The third axis is about renewing the reserves of public real estate by providing the public infrastructure. And the fourth axis is about enhancing the good governance of real estate and ensuring access to the information, making sure of the transparency and protecting rights and deploying mechanisms to follow up, to assess by establishing a national observatory and regional observatories. The third element is a general vision that goes to 2050, which makes the land as one of the main pillars based on four elements. First of all, reorganizing and rebalancing the urban distribution of different Moroccan cities, which means creating balance between the vulnerable and neglected cities and villages in Morocco and make them a part of the Moroccan dynamism like cities. And that can be established by providing enough land space, ensuring transportation between these properties, and also establishing sustainable development in these regions. Secondly, is to support the role of metropolitan cities as an urban, as a studied urban center in order to better use the available spaces and avoid any conflict. Third, promoting the role of this intermediary cities, which require restructuring the lands and the properties in order to establish a regional or territorial justice, also just accessibility. And fourthly is to support the role of the small cities and villages by a good land management, and make sure that they are linked to the cities and improving the infrastructure of these lands, preserving the agricultural lands, improving the property rights. So these emerging centers are very strategic to reinforce the links between the rural and the urban zones.
هذه الرؤية في تقوية
This vision also aims to strengthen the ties between the rural and the urban areas, and also to it will escort the development of the villages by integrated projects, and also limiting the discrepancies between the two zones and between the two populations. This strategy also aims to prepare more than 500 centers with 8 million people, which means 60% of rural population. And this is one of the big objectives of this ambitious project. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to mention that this strategic planning comes
البرنامج
to provide the framework of different development regional projects. These territorial regional planning gave great importance to the development of territories and real estate and land by reconsidering the existing project, controlling demand and offer, and also the necessity of each region to have a policy of land management, a policy of attraction of investment, and also ensuring the good benefit, the public benefit. So that's why we should consider that these or such regional projects are the ideal way to promote the land properties, and that will also provide us with different data and bank of information. Ladies and gentlemen, in the end of my speech, I would like to emphasize and to reiterate on the focus of our ministry to cooperate with our Arab colleagues and ministries in order to improve the good governance and also integrity and complementarity of our territories, and may God help us under the instructions of His Majesty. Thank you.
شكرا سيد.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Congratulations on what you achieved on this strategic, cohesive vision, and on national land, and every inch in our land is integrated in planning. What caught my attention is an important word. We staying away from. I give the word to Mr. to Mustafa Al-Kaha. Go ahead under your encouragements. Thank you. Peace be upon you all.
Sur le foncier. Alors, mon intervention va s'articuler sur la stratégie foncière nationale. Alors, l'élaboration de la stratégie foncière nationale et de son plan d'action en application des hautes orientations contenues dans la lettre royale adressée aux participants aux assises nationales sur la politique foncière de l'État et son rôle dans le développement économique et social, organisée sur
المنظمة تحت الرعاية السامية للملك محمد السادس 19 من سبتمبر 2015 في رسالته السامية حول الاستراتيجية المندمجة تحت خطة وتنفيذ هذه السياسة وفي في رسالته السامية وزارة الإعداد والتراب
et de son plan.
In order to answer the identified problematic, the land strategy turns around five strategies, which are subdivided into 18 strategies. The speculations and non-formulation of rights. Second, strategic access, to modify legal strategies and to adapt them to the reality on the ground. Third, access, restore the intervention capacity of the state and of local collectivities and governments and provide them with action tools. Fourth, reinforce the land strategies. The fifth one is consolidate the land governance. Among the 18 strategies, we have five that are qualified as priority. The first one is about the property of the exploitation for a better productivity of the land. The fifth is facilitate. The fifth is to revise the legal dispositions and provisions with the reality of practice. 11th, enrich the actual cadastre and with the economic and social actions, and to have a multi-usage cadastre. 17th, to implement a governance tool in order to qualify and to implement the national strategy. The national strategy has the role is to monitor the implementation of land strategy and to facilitate the leading and coordination of stakeholders and to decide as to do the arbitrating and in order to enhance the deployment of national strategy is to be able to assure a coordination and to involve the actors territory-wise and nation-wide, and also the entities in charge of deployment and to implement the land strategy. Vertical coordination. The outcomes of cadastre in land governance. The modern cadastre is considered as an instrument of knowledge that supports and backs the politics of land administration nationwide. It's an essential basis in order to take insightful decisions. The cadastre plays a role in land governance in guaranteeing a good administration of the land. I take the case of the cadastre for fiscality. The updated cadastre facilitates the collection of land taxes and also fiscal charges. To give you an example of Côte d'Ivoire, the implementation of cadastral sites has led to struggle against fiscal incivism, rising the rate of taxes into 19% in 2024, amelioration of fiscal revenues, and the modification of fiscal statute. The cadastre for the securitization of land rights. A trusted cadastre helps to guarantee legal transparency, providing clear information about the ownership and the land rights, and to reinforce security and fluidity of real estate transactions. The cadastre is structured. It's an indispensable tool for the management of conflicts related to tenements, and also helps access to debt, and contributes in resolving land litigations. I will highlight a very important point about the quality of cadastral information. As I've said, Morocco has a very qualified high-level cadastre. This quality is the precision of the determination of the coordinates of, and from 10 to 15 centimeters in urban area and 6 to 7 in rural area. This gives an incentive to investment. As for the information heritage in terms of cadastre and cartography, we have today 7,700,000 land ownership documents, and all the information, a plethora of information about every ownership document. Today, the agency has more than 256 million technical information, from technical data at the level of the cadastre, and which is legal is at the level of the services of land registration. Among the strategic tools to accelerate the land registration and to generalize the land registration, the agency today launches every year 35 territorial communes for the project of land registration of that accounts for 400 million dirhams. This is fully taken in charge and in charge of the agency, and the citizen will not pay any dirham. This is all covered by the agency. The cadastre for the planification and territorial planning. The cadastral information are indispensable for the urban and rural planification and implementation of planning. The cadastral data combined to other geographic data help develop urbanistic and urban plans, taking into consideration geospatial and land constraints. The evolution of the land, thanks to the cadastre, helps to manage and to administrate the land, and to adapt it to regulations in force. The visualization and the exploitation of cadastral data helps facilitate decision-taking in terms of urban planification and territorial planning, and to provide and to ensure a good planning for the urban territory. Risk management, or natural risk management, or combining risk zones, known as zones of drought and flooding, combined to the data of the cadastral data, is to protect agricultural lands, and also lands in general, and it helps to fight against desertification and helps taking decisions. Thank you very much.
شكرا سي مصطفى الكحاك على هذه
must to this precious word, and I think there's interpretations simultaneously. Now, if you allow me, I will talk about in attempt to a presentation that will, in fact, talks about the relationship between and planning and land. This word we
التسميح على هذا.
I apologize for these technical issues. My word is under the theme of the strategic role of in order to remind you of some of the important points that you all know, so I can remind you or remind you of its the, there is only two same lands. Every land has its own privacy, and the resources of land they are generational, and the value of the land is the result of its use. The land have no value except except if the use and its purpose. The balance uh, uh, development, it has important role, and the Kingdom of Morocco is a great country in this field, and there is many problems. The previous speakers tackled, and they as Mr. Mustafa Hakat talked about. Uh, uh, the resources of land in the Kingdom of Morocco, there is a division of land, and that is what Mrs. Latifa Nahnahi, the director of land policies, uh, uh, and there is the beneficiary, general beneficiary, and the use of the land. It's the topic of this beneficiary common interest. The growth of land and the use of it has its relationship, and it's every land we can build on it, and constructions. We should say that, and there is dangers of in some lands they have some dangers, and there is also political will of the country. You should build this place or not build it, and also the land there is we can construct on it. It has some conditions, and the environmental, urban or otherwise, or it consists under some legal and technical conditions, and the way that we can use this land for construction. The use of land, it should be planned and not hazardous and random, uh, and uh, uh, and we should study the needs, and we should work on technical parts, and so we can know the needs, and to provide the land that goes with these needs, and also the documents of land domain, and also regional, creating regional, and the field is planned and it has conditions. There is some recommendations. It's just a reminder of the reality. There are some recommendation from the experience that we have. The first recommendations, realism and rationalism in deciding land needs. Land needs, it should be in a way, there's some sort of generosity, and also specializing land growth, and preventing the overuse in spatial constructions. Also the high costs, and also the receptions of the land needs, to protect environment as a priority. And there is some many, also the immediate access of land will make to polarize investment, and also elevate the rate of development, and for a development that has a easy path. Guarantees, legal guarantees, and to protect ownership, the land of ownership is a factor for polarizing investment, and to a specific place, making mechanisms of utilizing utilize of the land, the field, for example, creating mechanism in executing the recommendations of the operations of constructions. This talks about constructions, and you know the economical outcomes. There is a relation between movement and on specific land, promoting innovations on many levels, and the ministry make some studies on these acts. and the way of making these guarantees the rights of the next generations in land resources. We know that we are temporary in this life, and we should save the land for the next generation. Guarantees the rights of the people and visitors, residents and visitors in land resources, like children, elderly, old people, people with disabilities, and other poor individuals. The smart implementations of land policies, specifically, and there is a guide of technical from different levels, following a principle of the use of the multi-purpose for so it can do its role according to the needs. Uh, uh, so it can uh, there is a so we cannot go the waste of land, if we can translate this word, following a principle of recreation of, collective facilities for many purposes, and we should reuse it for different purposes, and facilitating the access of private investments on land that we should utilize for the interest of collective facilities that benefits the community. Implementing digitalization as a tool to manage the land in a regional or national, and lastly, supporting visions that for the interest of constructions, especially on these new cities that we are building. This new technologies will find its place, and we can implement it on and also in the traditional cities that we rebuild. We rebuild it from history to present, and also to the future, according to its capacity on land. Thank you for your attention.
أعطي الكلمة
I give the floor to the to Mr. Professor, so I can pronounce its name, the engineer Saad Jalad. Jalab Al-Asiri Al-Anizi. Go ahead.
اللي جات هي هذيك اللي ما جاتش،
صح.
اللي ما جاتش.
تبعت هنا الأخضر يبدل الأحمر يلا اسمع بعض طلع هنا هنا الأخضر إيش يبدل الأخضر يمور أيوه الأحمر اوكي اوكي اوكي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Peace be upon you all. Firstly, I would like to thank our brothers in the Kingdom of Morocco for their hosting and reception. And we present to you a study, scientific study on governance, on land governance, that is under the team choosing the right places of on in the east of Riyadh, and it can be in any city, in any region, in any place, or also or it's, using technology and digitalization. We can start with you. For the introduction, many cities of the city in this age of speed in different, and also in uh, uh, for it's which prevents all the places that usually we cannot build upon in hydrology, and high places and low places, which was this implemented as a study. We can implement everyone according to every place. There are some pictures here from the floods. The importance of the topic, it's focused on the dangers of floods and low places, and and we'll find some suitable places from this study for the expansions and to the east of Riyadh. The problem is in many cities in the world, especially millionaire cities like Riyadh and other cities, and the dangers of floods and low places, and the problems that tired make scientists and planners tired, and we can solve this problem. The goals of this study, knowing the depth of these the channels of waters and flows of waters, and on the east of Riyadh, questions as a study case place the east of Riyadh city, the methodology of the study, the methodology, quantitative methodology, that we analyze a specific the length, the digital length, and getting out the characteristic of flow and the laws, and we integrate these methods and its balances. The methodology of the study, the example of the digital high, and the limitations of the zone of development, and the distance between floods and places, and into a numeralization, and this is the sources of data. The example of the low digit dem source, and the developments as analyzing data. Firstly, the highs of the study from 573 meters, and this is on the. Of course, we took an example as and the first example, the map of zigzags of this region of the study, Riyadh. We can see here 13%. Thirdly, the maps of flows in the regions, flows in East Riyadh. The map shows there is a six places, and for the and we can see on the table that the waters becomes analyzing the distance between between and six the steps of analyzing weighted sum. Meters and to kilo. This is according to the needs of every region. Our agency I put it as standards, suitable standards, analyzing within some categorizing the layer of the distance between flows into three layers. One and three, it's not suitable. One, it's suitable, and two, it's not suitable. And also, this, and according to every city and according, it's a majority filter in eliminating. Of course, the final map of we can see clearly here with this. We have suitable places. 226 kilo, which means 34%. 330, which means 40. Of course, places that are not suitable. If we can come back to the map, in the red color, as you can see, it's not suitable. Either we can in low places or places with waters, and the places that are not suitable 110, which means 16%. And recommendations first put standard hydrological standard, geographic and hydrological standards from governments, and also generalizing these studies in all regions of the KSA before initiating any future plan. And we see this in generalizing these study in all the places of KSA before starting any plan. And also thirdly, creating flows. Fourthly, implementing these studies in region that its grow and its current solutions of places is not suitable for construction. Of course, I thank you for your attention, and inshallah we finished by the word of God. Thank you. Thank you.
على هذه المداخلة الغنية، شكرا لكم. الآن إذا سمحتم نفتح باب النقاش، ويعني من أراد أن يتفضل بطلب الكلمة نعمل لائحة إذا سمحتم، ومن بعد اللائحة يعني غادي نعطي الكلمة لكل متدخلين حسب دوره. تفضل السي، غادي نسجل سميتك إذا شفت مزيان كنشوف السي المكاوي. وي وي خصني نشوفتها قدامي، عندك الحق مدام حمطامي. انظر يمينا ويسارا، فوقا وتحتا. أرى عيونا تريد أن تتكلم ولكن أيدي لا ترتفع. تفضل، يمكن تفضل بسميتكم. نعم. إذن طارق، السيد طارق. سأسجل بعض الأسماء عنوة. ها، إني أرى رؤوسا. سيدة بدرية مديرة التعمير، لا بد أن نسمع صوتها. لها لا شك أن لها ما تتحفنا به من تجربتها. الأخ تفضل. الدكتور صلاح معمار. سأقول الدكتور صلاح، ها، حتى نسهل الأمر. إذن عندنا 1 2 3 4 5 متدخلين. نبدأ باللائحة ال5 ومن بعد إن شاء الله نزيد إلى متدخلين آخرين. إذن السيد مكاوي تفضل. اسكيا ميكرو باردو.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين. بداية جزيل الشكر لكل السادة المتدخلين، وأخص منهم بالذكر ممثلي مديرية إعداد التراب الوطني والسيد ممثل الوكالة الوطنية للمحافظة العقاري والمسح العقاري والخرائطية. وأشيد بالدور الذي يقومان به في خدمة سؤال التنمية في المغرب. سؤال العقار والتنمية هو سؤال معقد، ويعني به محاور عديدة، والإجابة عليه ليست بالسهلة. لكن أعتقد في تقديري الخاص أول سؤال يجب أن نطرحه، وهو بالمناسبة ينطلي على معادلة صعبة صعوبة واقعها على شاكلة من سبق هل البيضة أم الدجاجة. السؤال يرتبط بتصورنا: هل الفرصة العقارية أو العقار هو الذي يحدد مسار تخطيطنا، أم أن التخطيط بمعنى أن الاحتياجات التي يعني نشخصها هي التي تحدد تخطيطنا للعقار؟ أعتقد أن الإجابة على هذه المعادلة هي بطبيعة الحال ليست يعني مطلقة، هي نسبية. لكن أعتقد ما شاء الله من خلال تجربتكم يعني القيمة، حبذا لو تعطونا يعني الخطوط العريضة اللي يعني استخلصتموها من خلال تجربتكم للإجابة على هذا السؤال. وشكرا.
شكرا سي مكاوي. سيجيبكم يعني المتدخل الذي يعني تكلم عن هذا الموضوع. أعطي الكلمة إذا انتظروا إن شاء الله الجواب. أعطي الكلمة السيدة حمتامي، مديرة الوكالة الحضرية للقنيطرة، وسيدي قاسم وسيدي سليمان. عندها تعدد في الأقاليم.
شكرا سي فيكتوري. Tout d'abord, effectivement, je voudrais remercier tout.
Yes, indeed. I would like to thank all the people. So I was told to give a testimony. So yes, indeed, as you know, urbanization has an impact on society, on the economy, on the environment. So yes, indeed, as we extend our land, there is land that is dedicated to agriculture. that changes to answer the demand for a habitat for industrial areas, and that reduces the amount of fertile land that can be used for agriculture. But even beyond that, those lands can no longer be used for agriculture. So all the regions are aware of this issue. An issue that is translated into two processes. There is a process that shows the will of the state for having urbanization by having a document that introduces the periphery of the city from agriculture zone to a public zone. So this is an added value process that answers the need and the needs and also based on the will. Then there is another process that we're the victim of, which is the proliferation of non-regulated constructions around the small village, and this is the reduction of agricultural land. And this is a process that doesn't generate any added value. So this is also urbanization. So there are two processes. There is the official process that goes through planning, and then there is the non-official process where people just build next to the wall. So we need, so there is the first approach, which is the strategic planning, and we have objectives, which is sustainable management of our resources, and it also has for objective reorganizing the urban pole by finding the right balance between the different poles, and therefore protect the agricultural land. The second approach So we are aware of this problem of urban expansion, and we are now creating cities. We're creating compact cities. So in some territories, we are trying to have tall cities, vertical development instead of horizontal development, in order not to use the agricultural land. Then there is another approach which that is operational, where we put a framework to the non-regulatory construction. So we did some studies, and we introduced infrastructure, introduced the equipment like sanitation, water, etc., to make those areas areas that answer the need of that population that lives there. So then there is another approach that we start using, which is planning. So we introduce it in the planning. It is setting limits to the villages, to the douar. So to avoid using the agricultural land, we encourage the rural population to group themselves in villages, and so we can introduce the sanitation, the water, the electricity for these people, so they can live in dignity and avoid them spreading out all over the whole territory, creating many douars, many villages, and limiting the agriculture land. Then another approach that I can also mention, it is the approach of digital planning. So we are introducing some new platforms in order to have all the data, all the information to support decision making through digital platform. For example, we introduce our guidelines, our plans, the studies, the limits, so that we can better, so we can have better control of our territories, and so we can have the adequate or control. And I think I will stop right here. Thank you.
تصفيقاتكم الحقيقة هي
Thank you very much.
أعرف كثيرا هذه التجربة هي تجربة غنية جدا تقوم بها الوكالة الحضرية، وتعرفون أن يعني مدن تقع في محيط فلاحي.
One of the wishes of seas in Morocco and the region of West, and I know you're suffering in protecting the resources, agricultural sources. I give the word. Thank you, Ms. Hantari. The word to Mr. Mr. Peace be upon you, from Egypt, according the region of Riyadh, and the topic of flowings and prevention of flowing. Will you do a scientific study and I do a model, and I see what model that I did, and I revise it, and I test the waters, it is flowing, and its effects and the guarantees of these models. It is I do a stimulations of these models, so I can do it in this is true. You talk about okay. The percentage of flow, correct? We cannot do it. This study I talk about in the beginning, that needs any needs that the idea is a government plan, and that it will add to it any standards, and the idea is what's important. We can add the percentage of flowing, maps, and many more, and the percentage of flowing, and can add to it. The idea is the governments of land, spatial land, and thank you. Thank you. I want to add something. We now live in a stage of climate that is not persistent, and we there is climate change, and we witness it now, and we live in this stage. The word now to Mr. Badriya Ben Jalul, the director of. We can listen to it. Go ahead. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Baduri. If allow me, first I want to thank all today people that is witness here in the room, and the people with us from KSA. Firstly, I want to mention a point. I will talk in French.
Avec nous dans cette salle, un grand, on va dire, échantillonnage de territoire. Nous avons avec nous les gens de Dakhla, les gens de Oujda, les gens de Fès, de Stat, de Esfi, de Taza, de Mknes, de
Khenifra, Kinetra, Sawira. Sorry if I miss someone. Jadida. Just to tell you that today the act of planify is preceded by a governance, and this governance in Morocco is represented by urban agencies. In Morocco, we have 30 urban agencies. We have therefore 30 experts who have a mission to planify the territory. Myself, I am at the central level at the direction of urbanism, which belongs to the Ministry of too much intervention dimensions, and it's not for granted. We have urbanism, territory planning. Why? Because in the planification action we have to answer all these criteria and to see purpose and to create coherence when we planify. We planify through a tool, as in the world we have strategic planification 20-25 years, and the planification of use of land as everywhere. And now in the practice of this planification, we have assessed that we have interrogated, we have an intertwined couple. It's a couple. We cannot. We cannot separate urban and planification and land planification. I would like to thank my friend Mr. Khak, who has presented the guidelines and the landmarks of the planification and the efforts made by INFCC, which is not that easy, is to secure this land. You have seen through the intervention of Madame Nahnahid, the devastation of land status and the complexity in order to mobilize this land. As a key, we have to registrate and to secure this land. We are using approaches of registration. The holistic approach of registration, through this we can project a policy of the state which will be implemented, and we have the prerequisites of the land registration. In this strategic planification, Mr. Progduri, our professor, because he is teacher and he makes urbanism documents too, he decided to accompany us in the elaboration and the making of these documents, and in order to define the administrative perimeters. We have the perimeters, the territorial coherence, where we treat the urban and the semi-urban and the rural too. We tackle different levels of territory, as Madame Nahnahi has tackled, emergent, intermittent, and remote, rural, and the rural to be protected for the objectives that you all know, the agricultural lands for food security. The first thing when we planify, I say first of all, there is a risk. The first thing is to know the risk, to know about the risk, and this knowledge about risk and awareness, we have done it through what we call the layer 0, which doesn't not only treat the floods but also avalanches and tsunami. Why? Because the effects of climate change, we live them, we witness them, we have lived the house earthquake, you have seen them all over the world. I think at the level of the Riyadh, which is something that you live nowadays. we are in fluctuations between drought periods and high precipitation period. In taking into consideration the notion of risk, it's not a risk in itself, it's not a natural risk, but it's also industrial and technological risk. It's an economic risk and sanitary one too. The crisis of COVID-19 was a lesson for all of us because it changed our lifestyle. We are not planifying in the same way. Many people work from home. There is the digital platforms that have changed everything. We have to planify in different manners and to change our way of planification. The urbanism of the city of Quarter, when we planify the resource, the land resource, we have to optimize it. And this planification of the resource, of land for resource, we have to do so our lifestyle be accessible on the food in a 15-minute or quarter trajectory. You have to work for proximity. We talked about the question of the public utility. We have revised the way of programming these public equipments. Why? Because we have realized that we are overwhelmed by the used land. We have revised this into decrease, and today the land resource has a price, and if we mobilize it, is that to be implemented. We have witnessed and experienced with the different experts of the urban agencies the new generation planning regulation, which we call 2.0. It's about the fixed rule, which is in place of the alternative rule. Document of urbanism, it gives us the way we use the land, and it gives the value to this land through urban value. We are in a principle of participation and contribution to what we call the financement of urbanism, funding of urbanism. First, it's a contribution in nature, in kind contribution. It's a parcel, it's a part of land that we keep, and you can use it in order to realize, in order to achieve, to make an equipment, or when we will manage well the land, the urban quality on the ground, through to increasing of the permeability of the land coefficient. And we have shared with you, have the same problematics, we live the same challenges we have today to innovate in the way we planify. Today we have to planify the territorial coherence and the risk. We have to planify, let's say, the rational use of the land without forgetting all the possibilities that are provided by technology of the digital platform. I have talked about this morning. Today we are working about on a pilot platform to use AI for the benefit of this planification. Why? Because this is so-called big data, and this can be well analyzed and interpreted by AI, and it may give us the multi-layers, and this can correct our urbanism acts, our choices in urbanism, and to help us in taking our decisions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Badria, for this presentation. I was right when I involved her to talk here with us. Dr. Salah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. شكرا ل
Good afternoon. Thank you, the Kingdom of Morocco, with its ministries and hospitable people, Salah Mi'mar, assistants in the General Commission of Land and Properties. I have a question to the experts. I hope they can answer me. Is it expected in the third edition of the Arab Conference? Can we expect in the 10th edition to change, to have a different challenges? So because the challenges, I'm feeling that there is a kind of fear about the urban expansion. We don't have a problem with lands like in Europe. We have a wide range of lands, and also the cost might be different, and it is even less than the one in Europe. And the land is not the land is not crucial the way it was, which I mean, if I need something, I can order it online, and I can get delivery. Many jobs became online. So even the existence of a whole community that was required and it was expensive, it's not needed in the civil expansion, and yet we still fear and doubtful about civil expansion. So what is the roadmap, and how can we say in the 10th edition to say that we successfully expanded and we controlled the cost, for example, of electricity with the solar energy? So can we draw an urban expansion planning, and to make it a dream that comes true? Thank you. In my opinion, you are right, because there are deep changes that took place in the digital world. The digital solutions give us new ways to deal with the space and land. As you said, that these innovations and what we used to do is we have to behave differently with different approaches, and surely this idea will be among the recommendations of this session. Hopefully that there will be a scientific committee, scientific Arab committee that deals rationally with the land issue and with the futuristic approach. So are there any other intervention? Please provide the name so I can put you in the list.
اسمحوا لي.
We were asked to leave the room. Apparently there is another activity. Am I correct? We will still have some minutes. I am sorry from speakers. After your permission to pass directly to the recommendations. I'm sorry, okay? Sincerely, right? We give the floor to Mr. Khalid to give us the recommendations that sprang out from this session. Thank you, Mr. Bekdouri. In fact, it is difficult to summarize and present all the interventions in a brief way, because all what it has been said was valuable scientifically speaking, but we are obliged to do so, and I will proceed by reading some summaries, some recommendations that were spoken by some speakers. So, in the context of the efforts of promotion in the Arab states, the third conference, the third edition of the third Arab Conference on Land was held by the intervention and participation of different experts. This conference came to shed light on the importance of real estate and land as as an engine of economy in order to think about innovative solutions to make it sustainable and resilient. Based on that, we have to mention the general context of these interventions. The interventions presented different backgrounds and strategies that construct the general framework regarding the real estate, especially the royal instructions that of the national policy in the conference held in December, although the big reforms were presented according to the new constitution of 2011 and the new model of development. In addition to that, governmental projects were presented in terms of and the creation of the ministerial committee of real estate integration. In the end, we have to bear in mind the challenges by the demographic change and also the rural and urban challenges. So, from this general framework, the speakers and the participants in the conference they reiterated and emphasized that real estate is a lever of economic development and creating jobs and employment and promoting national economy. The third point that property and land is a pillar to establish social justice and to shrink the discrepancies and differences in social classes and also in infrastructures and economic activities. Also, real estate represents a strategic tool to direct public policies and establish and implement the programmed project in terms of administrative urban plannings. In the end, the participants and the speakers considered real estate as a natural resource that should be sustained and maintained for next generation by adopting responsible practices while using it. Taking into consideration all these notes that were discussed by the speakers, there is a reality that we have to mention. A reality with its challenges and horizons. This reality is characterized by a complex real estate situation with rigid regulations and also irrational use of lands. In addition, the difficulty to provide the right land spaces for urban expansions. There is also difficulty to get information about properties, urban expansions on the on agricultural land without it, as was mentioned by one of the speakers, and also the making of or the artification of agricultural lands. So that's there are also different recommendations, administrative and legal, such as securing the access to the real estate by simplifying the administrative procedures and overcoming the legal system, revising and adapting the legal framework according to the laws related to the planning, to the regional and territorial planning. Practical procedures to protect the ownership, creating national institutions of land management on a local and regional level, also relying on contracts and partnerships between private and public sectors with a common objective to establish sustainable development. Also, adopting efficient tools in order to limit the land smuggling and creating a national register for several use. Also, recommendations from Mr. Begduri, Nahnahi, and Nahi Hantami, and Badriya. They give us some key elements in terms of operational procedures. For example, valorization and highlighting the strategic reserves of lands, also improving the standards and limiting the illegal or unorganized urban expansion, adopting new approaches that target a balanced urban growth and better use of lands, also put in rational mechanisms to better use the lands according to resilience and new needs, encouraging innovation with the different urban models, with the smart implementation of urban references according to different urban forms, providing different urban offers according to all social classes, also adopting the collective equipment of local government and relying on digitalization and the new tools and And as Madam Director said, is to generalize the use